months ago. I take you now to Australia, to a great patriot. I'm going to read some of his quotes coming up later, of Kevin Bracken, president of the Victorian Trades Hall Council. And the VTHC is the coordination of union activities and campaigns with the union. And it goes on. He also sits on some government boards. And the issue here is he's gone public for 9/11 Truth. He's an engineer. Trades Hall president Kevin Bracken stands by his 9/11 conspiracy. He was demonized. And here are his quotes when he was demonized on national media when he got a chance to respond. He said, "Unfortunately, cowards like yourself have set the political agenda in this country for too long," said Kevin Bracken. "I won't be cowered down to bullies like yourself." And he just went through the controlled demolition information. And the Prime Minister is blasting him. Many have called for him to get in trouble for his free speech. Joining us, we got a lot of listeners in Australia as well on the internet and satellite, is Kevin Bracken, a great patriot there in Australia. Sir, great to have you on.
Thanks, Alex. It's great to be on. But I've got to just clarify this. When I'm speaking on this, I'm saying this, I've been asked to say this is my opinion. We're going to take these things back to our members and make sure that's fully recognised by them. Because a lot of people wanted to distance themselves, and I've discussed it with the Victorian Trades Hall Council and my own union, the Maritime Union, and I'm letting everyone know that it's these are my statements, but they were begun out of resolutions from our union, and it was taken to Trades Hall, and it was a resolution that was passed that said we condemn the terrorist attacks, tragic terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. They've been used to start two preemptive wars and attacks civil liberties and our legal principles, which have been the cornerstone of civilised communities. There's an urgent need to go back and reassess the way we view the world after September 11, and we call for another proper independent inquiry into the terrorist attacks of that day. So that was a resolution which was passed by Trades Hall Council.
So that means your members have basically that voted for that. You're speaking as independent citizen, but I mean,
it's a resolution that was passed by the Trades Hall Council, which is the supreme decision-making body of the Trades Hall.
Yeah.
So
this is the group over all the major unions, and they've basically then, at least those that voted in the majority, they have signed, sealed, and delivered, and basically backed you.
Well, that was done in 2008.
Yes.
So
but you'd already spoken out as early as 2006, right?
Yeah. Well, I was a bit suspicious right from the start. And as you were talking earlier on about Obama having a terror threat, it worked for George Bush. He had a 20% approval rating before September 11. And after September 11, he had an 80% approval rating. Well, I just hope if there is another terror event that enough people are wisened up to have a look at what's really happened.
You talk about 50% of the public agreeing with you. Polls actually are showing 70% of Australians questioning the attack. Quantify your statement of 50% back you.
Well, at the time, that was accurate, because after that, there was a bit of it created, it went right around the world, actually. And the Herald Sun, which is a newspaper here, put a poll out. Do you think the comments made by Kevin Bracken are reasonable? And well, it's now 76% support me, and 23% say it wasn't reasonable. So it is a big majority of people now. But at the time when I spoke to Jon Faine on the phone, it was about 50-50. Now it's 76 to 23 point something.
Amazing. Why did you, as an engineer, first begin to question the official story?
All right, I'll clarify this too. I'm not an engineer. I'm actually a dock worker who stood for a position. But my...
Okay, well, the newspaper says you're an engineer, so I apologize.
That's all right. But what happened, there was a debate about the war in Afghanistan, Australia's involvement in the war in Afghanistan. The day before, there was a press release put out by Paul Mason, who's a structural engineer. He's been a structural engineer for 36 years. And he said, you can't have a debate about Australia's involvement in Afghanistan unless you go back and have a look at September 11. And that was done as a press release. Well, on top of that, I pressed reply to all, and I said, that's right, there are many unanswered questions about September 11. For example, why did it, were 4 planes hijacked for an hour and 20 minutes and no US Air Force fighters went up to intercept them, which is against their protocols, and then about another 10 things. And I said, there's resolutions from the Victorian Trades Hall Council and the Maritime Union of Australia, the Victoria branch, calling for another inquiry. And then Jon Faine sent me an email back, who's the presenter of the program, and said, will you say it on there? I said, yeah, just give me the time and a number to call. And so, when I did make the phone call, he says, oh, who are you? Hang on. As if I'd just called out the blue.
So being disingenuous.
Yeah, well, I'm telling the truth. And, we've had Richard Gage actually came out and spoke to a meeting at the Victorian Trades Hall Council and did a presentation from architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth. And I think, you could fault the science at Richard.
Well, Kevin, hold on. We've got to take a break. We've got you till the end of the hour, the end of the live broadcast. We really appreciate you coming on. And, of course, breaking news. I'm sorry for getting you on 5 minutes late, but I had to cover this breaking news with the president issuing these fake terror alerts. We're going to go over what Richard Gage said, what your union's saying, what the views of Australians you talk to are, and how they tried to intimidate you into silence. We appreciate your courage, sir. We're going to come right back.
Global meltdowns, massive unemployment, endless wars, a new currency crisis, financially and morally bankrupt. A great and terrible storm is approaching. So what's the best way to get ready, to get prepared for hard times ahead? Introducing Off the Grid News, a weekly newsletter for independent patriots who want practical advice on how to survive and prosper in an increasingly dangerous world. It's the best way to get a black belt in emergency preparedness, survival skills, and off-the-grid living. Off the Grid News is fiercely independent, all about self-reliance and packed with helpful information on survival gardening, food preparation, alternative energy, herbal medicines, privacy and security, as well as God, gold, and guns, with absolutely no apologies. And the best part, this $100 a year service is now free of charge for our listeners. That's right, free for our listeners who sign up at offthegridnews.com. That's offthegridnews.com. You can sign up free at offthegridnews.com. Offthegridnews.com.
Are you wondering about your retirement portfolio? Are you confident that the financial advisor is experienced enough to combat climbing interest rates, taxes, and inflation? Stop guessing and go to the expert, Robert Chapman of the International Forecaster. When you subscribe to the International Forecaster, you get Robert Chapman's 45 years of experience and concise investment recommendations. Who needs sugar-coated excuses when you can get the cold hard facts and proven investment leads you can't get anywhere else? For a free introductory copy to Robert Chapman's International Forecaster, subscribe now at theinternation4caster.com or call 877-479-8178. Experience the difference. When you subscribe, you can email Robert Chapman directly to obtain investment advice tailored just for you. Don't wait another minute. Subscribe today at theinternation4caster.com or call 877-479-8178. That's 877-479-8178.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on Earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship. Body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Normal blood pressure, naturally. How would that make you feel?
I'm Don from New Mexico. January of 2000, I had a heart attack. Then my real health began going downhill, and I had high blood pressure, high blood sugar, poor vision, and I really wasn't sleeping well. I was a mess, pretty much.
Don reports dramatic improvements with Heart and Body Extract.
I started taking Heart and Body Extract, and from within a few days, I started sleeping a lot better. My blood pressure normalized, my blood sugar normalized, and my sleep really did improve.
Experience these benefits and more when your body gets what it needs with the assistance of Heart and Body Extract. Order at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. That's hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305.
And folks, I did not expect this at all. By the 7th, 8th, and 9th day, I saw dramatic improvements from taking Heart and Body Extract.
Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
Kevin Bracken, president of the Victorian Trades Hall Council. The last 2 weeks has been one of the biggest stories in Australia, and it's been in the news here as they tried to demonize him. They knew his opinion. They wanted to, and I talked to him during the break, he agrees, they wanted to politically try to score points against the political party he's affiliated with and unions. So they said, come on as a guest, and they acted like he just called in. But I said, looks to me, Kevin, like this has backfired, and he agreed. So in your own words, break down kind of how this unfolded, and then we'll look at 9/11 itself and the attack on your free speech. But please continue.
Well, as I said, there was a debate on Afghanistan. There was a press release released by a structural engineer from Melbourne. I replied to the press release. Jon Faine emailed back to me and said, would you say it on air? I said, no worries, give me the number and the time. I started talking, and then he said, oh, hang on, who are you? Where are you from? So, yeah. But actually, I stuck to what the fact is, and that is that the official story doesn't stand up to scientific scrutiny. And, yeah, I was ridiculed throughout that. The next day, I rang him back again, and he says, oh, I'm on the horns of a dilemma here. He said, yesterday a man rang up. He later identified himself as the president of the Victorian Trades Hall Council and secretary of the Maritime Union. He came out with outrageous statements. He's been ridiculed all over the world, including in the Parliament by the Prime Minister, and he's come on for another whacking around the ears. And I said, well, first of all, John, I want to thank you for inviting me on the program. He goes, I didn't invite you on. I said, yes, you did. I said, I put out a press release. You replied back to me. I've got the email. Give me the number and the time to ring back. And it said exactly who I was on the email. So, yeah, but I was quite happy with the way it went out. And as I said earlier on, there is 76% of the people in the poll that was taken by the right-wing newspaper here supporting what I said.
And they don't like that, do they?
They don't. So I thought, it was there, put out there to ridicule, myself and unions, and it actually backfired on them. And I've had, tremendous support from people I've seen, and I've been flooded with emails, with people saying, congratulations for speaking up. But I've sort of been on it for a long time, so...
Yeah. Now, the break interrupted you. You were trying to talk about Richard Gage, the head of now over 1,200 architects and engineers who have exposed the official story as defying the laws of physics and Isaac Newton. But you got interrupted there. Finish up your point about Richard Gage coming.
Yeah, Richard Gage gave a presentation at the Victorian Trades Hall Council and told us all about exactly the science behind 9/11. So it was very convincing. And so we've been distributing email his blueprint for truth, and he's had the support of a number of structural engineers from Melbourne. So on the back of that, we replied, and I sent out the press release. So, but if you have a look at it, and some of the emails I've got back have been fantastic. They're estimating that there's been 8 million people killed because of September 11 now. There was a 3,000, nearly 3,000 originally, but there's all the people from Iraq, Afghanistan. There's all the people who've been killed through the flooding of opium, since, America and Australia had invaded Afghanistan, where they'd stopped the production of opium, and now the places are awash with it. So unless we actually speak up about it, this is going to keep going on. And they've already said, if you read that blueprint for the Project for a New American Century, the wars will not end in our lifetime. The attacks on civil liberties have started. But they didn't actually start with September 11. We actually had them before. We had the Olympic Games in Melbourne the year before September 11, and there was shoot-to-kill legislation come in. That was going to have a 3-year sunset clause. And guess what? It's still in this country. So, it wasn't the start of it. These things were happening before, but it's a catalyst for the acceleration of it. We've got ridiculous laws in this country now, which actually state that people can be charged for possession of a thing.
Well, I remember the shoot-to-kill orders, and now I see headlines out of Australia where it says protesters can be shot for no reason. I mean, they just say if they want to kill you, they can just shoot you.
That's right, and they can't. There's no